Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Tuesday night. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. That's Jacob Terrell. And joining us tonight, we've got Harry Austin. Harry, the next to Dani. Hey, you just might be. Harry, we were just catching up, and you're looking trim. You're looking like you're doing well. How's the knees? Are you gonna compete for Dani Rojas's spot?
Maybe, but I might want to do more of the TV show path.
Okay.
I think that's the path I'd prefer to go. But but if I had to sign in El Paso, I'll pass.
I mean, it's pretty easy. You just got to hit the goalie and get a yellow card, and that be your only contribution.
Dude, I can do that. And come on at the 85th minute.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. Welcome on in, everybody. Mike and Bolty already over in the chat. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Glad to have you with us. We got a lot to get to this evening. We're going to talk some New Mexico United. We're going to catch up on the World Cup. We're going to talk about the Prinks Tires Jägermeister Malort Cup, in which San Antonio has advanced.
Hey, how did Mexico do?
We got 9 points.
Need to score more goals.
Apparently. Speaking of, I saw a post over on Reddit, Harry. I don't know how frequently you're on Reddit anymore, but there was a post, someone complaining about the United El Paso match, saying, don't they know they need to score more goals when it was 0-0? Like, you think one team they're just going to roll over and let the other one score 11, so El Paso can't, or so Miami doesn't make it?
But so they're not wrong on that, because it's my biggest frustration with San Antonio is teams, because the Prinks USL Cup is geared to generate goals, but teams still play very, very defensive. Mm-hmm. They do not, in my opinion, play attacking soccer. So I think San Antonio had 5 goals, 6 goals. I'd have to look it up, but. For being a group winner, they were talking about how does San Antonio really belong in there?
Yeah, some interesting results from around the weekend. Miami put 5 up on Sarasota Paradise. I mean, Miami scoring 5 is interesting. The fact is over Sarasota, not so much. Lou City handed Lexington their second loss in the last month. Only the second loss in the last month. So Lexington doing well.
Lexington was up on Lou City early. And
they
got the red card, and then they fell apart.
And Phoenix Rising continues to fall apart with a 2-1 loss to AV Alta, which, good Lord. Harry, you and I were discussing this a little bit ago. Apparently, the Rising social media team had to take down the match result because the feedback was so negative on social media.
But yes, I did verify. San Antonio scored in 4 matches, 5 goals. Only allowed 1, which is how you get the most points. You move on. But yes, my biggest takeaway is thank you, Boise, for keeping Sacramento out of it. And Spokane Velocity with 9 points gets to advance forward here. I personally would like to see the top 2 from the groups go through. Hey,
there's Christina.
I thought I'd at least pop in for a little bit and say hi to you guys.
Yeah, how are you? It says you're in the Cali airport. What are you doing in Cali?
I went. I grew a wild hair and thought I'm going to go to a really fun watch party to see the U.S. men play in the quarterfinals.
I'm sorry.
And then it didn't work out, but I still had a lot of fun.
So it's your fault.
It might be. See, whenever I travel to see New Mexico, they lose.
But I bet you it was a fun experience, though.
We had fun. It was still fun. Going to the ocean.
I know a couple of people from San Antonio that actually went to the game, and despite the result, they mentioned that the atmosphere was outstanding.
And even just in I was at Venice Beach. It was pretty cool. The watch party was a little bit lame, but just being there and seeing so many people from different countries and their kits, and just all the restaurants and bars. I went to a fun watch party at a mini golf place that had a bar balcony for the Norway England match.
you been out there that long? Nice.
Yeah, 4 nights. So, and of course, I'm flying right in the middle of this podcast.
Poor planning. We need to
I
work with the
know.
producers on that. They should have scheduled it around your time frame a little bit more better.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, it's been 8:05 for years now.
I mean, everyone should be used to that at that point. Jacob's showing off his flags over there. I was gifted a scarf today at work. One of my coworkers is a big soccer fan. He and I have been doing a lot of discussion, a lot of coffee talk about World Cup, and he gifted me a scarf today.
Huh,
Okay.
interesting. Still no United gear. Cool.
No, still
kidding.
no United gear, but yeah, he gifted me a New England Revs.
The slide part's pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but,
cool.
But yeah, no black and yellow, buddy.
Yeah.
Or
Is it a
turquoise.
Right? Nope. Yeah. So
You know what's depressing is I have more New Mexico United stuff in my screen than you do.
Now, to be fair, you can't. There is a New Mexico United hat right there.
One hat.
Yep, one hat. Mike's got a point here. Let's have a cup where the group stage all have teams play each other in the group. No, we can't do that. That makes too much sense. Why would we do a thing like that? Yeah, let's have uneven groups. Let's have uneven season schedules. Let's just throw it all out the window. Points don't even matter at this point. So, but yeah, Prince Tire, Western could not watch. I mean,
You could not watch.
no, that's not an option.
Just saying.
That is not an option. Braga, I don't hate the colors. It's not red and black. That I hate. So, Spokane Velocity.
Shot?
No, UGA, a UGA shot right there. Yeah, Spokane Velocity advanced over 4 USL championship teams out of Group 1. Switchbacks advance out of Group 2. San Antonio advances out of Group 3. Lou City advancing out of Group 4. Hartford out of Group 5. Charlotte Independence. Yeah. Charlotte Independence, another League One side, advancing out of Group 6 over Battery and Riverhounds. And then
you know how they did that, right?
On PKs. Oh, PKs.
That match went to PKs. That's whoever won the PKs won the right to win the group.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a fun one to watch there. And then out of Group 7, Tampa and Miami. Miami puts up 5 against Sarasota.
But to be fair, Group 7 was the weakest group.
Oh, easily.
Sporting Jacks, Sarasota, and FC Naples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without a doubt. Harry, you and I were talking before the show, and I want to open this up to the other two as well. Obviously, we've seen some bad teams. We've seen Miami win the Wooden Spoon. We've seen some others. Is this Sporting Jacks team the worst team you've ever seen?
Oh, you guys already talked about it.
Keep in mind they drew San Antonio 3-3. So, but San Antonio plays down to the lower levels.
What do you think, Christina?
I'm trying to think if I can recall a team that's struggled more than them. I mean, there's been a time, in Vegas' history that they've been pretty bad. Out of USL 2.0, probably.
Because there was the Antigua team that didn't win a match and got blown out because they tried to travel for all their games, if memory serves me correct, back long term. So nobody will overtake them. But I said no. They're probably close, but we forget how bad Vegas was. We forget how bad.
No, Miami is the winner here.
Yeah, Miami. Yep, Miami was a couple of years ago.
I was going to say Vegas in the earlier. Yeah, when back in 2019, 2020, Vegas was oof.
But
even
to be
Colorado
fair
Springs
on the Miami team,
back then.
To be fair on the Miami team, I think they took points from both of our teams, San Antonio and New Mexico, in their year that they were really. So,
I mean,
just to be fair,
I don't care. They still finished on 11 points. Had 29 losses.
Yeah.
Like Jacksonville could do that, but I don't know. That Miami team was something
was
to
horrible. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I knew of the Antigua team, but I did not follow the league at that point because San Antonio was in the NASL during that time period. So I was more of an NASL guy than a USL guy when Antigua Barracudas, and that was it.
Yeah, I don't think any of the three of us were really following the league at all around that time. But yeah, we've seen a couple real stinkers the past couple of years, but nothing quite like the Sporting Jacks team. Monterey and Lexington have finally picked up points. They're doing something this year. So, it looks like everyone in the West will finish with double-digit points this year, which is a positive. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with those bottom two teams over in the East.
Well, Loudoun's already got 11 points. They have one win and 8 draws. So Loudoun at least is getting a point a game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sporting Jacks has 11 losses and four draws, no wins as of yet, and an impressive -22 goal differential.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty bad. And that's just league play. That's not counting all the cup stuff. So, but yeah, the Prinks Tires Malort Jägermeister Cup group stage is done. We're on to the draw coming up on August 12th. You've got Charlotte Independence hosting Hartford Athletic. You've got Tampa Bay Rowdies hosting Lou City. That one's going to be a fun one. San Antonio,
and that was the first
Miami.
mount drawn. The Lou City Tampa was the first match drawn, and you could tell they were kind of pissed.
Yeah.
So those two matched at the start.
Oh yeah. San Antonio hosts Miami, and then Spokane Velocity will play host to Colorado Springs. Yeah, so that's not till August 12th. So we got a month until the first round, or to the first, what do you call it? I guess the quarterfinals. But yeah, anything stand out here other than that Tampa Bay Lou City match? I mean, obviously that's one that most people are going to be watching.
I'm going to be rooting for the underdogs.
So
all the way, baby.
San Antonio.
Yep. You called it.
No, I think Spokane has an interesting draw with Colorado Springs away up in Spokane. I think that'll be a game to watch. Obviously, the match between Lou City and Tampa, those are two probably of the favorites. That one will be going out at that time. And then what was the other one? San Antonio, Miami, we'll see it. The other upset one is Charlotte Independence. When they did their thing during the show there, Charlotte hasn't lost in 14 matches. So they are on a hot streak. They went 2-0-2, so they didn't lose in their group play. They won on penalties against Pittsburgh and won on penalties against Charleston. They play a Hartford team that played Westchester, the Cosmos, beat Brooklyn, and lost to Rhode Island. So if you really look at who they played, Brooklyn's an expansion team, Cosmos an expansion team for League One, and Westchester, I believe, is an expansion team for League One, or plays like an expansion team from League One. So Hartford, to me, would be kind of, even though they're the defending Cup champions, them traveling to Charlotte, even though you'd think that they're the USL Championship team, I don't know. I would kind of favorite Charlotte, looking at it today, pending injuries and possible pickup players along those lines here. But current form, Hartford didn't really play anybody in their group.
Who's Charlotte playing?
Hartford.
Oh, Hartford. Okay.
Yeah, they host.
Right.
Yeah,
I didn't
glad to
think
see
they did
both
it.
League One teams getting the host. Think Charlotte could do it? I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
But to be
Hartford.
fair, Hartford went on the road last year at San Antonio, got a 2-0 win in the same round last year, because I think it's Hartford and San Antonio are the only two repeat from last year, so it would be interesting.
Yep. That it will be. So Harry, talk to us a little bit about San Antonio. We haven't caught up with you on the show in a bit. Jacob and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about how we felt like San Antonio, you probably weren't happy with how they've been playing, especially in league play.
Haven't been playing, yes.
So obviously you go unbeaten in cup play. You're sitting second in the West right now. Like, realistically, where is this San Antonio team? How good are they?
I think I think when the dust settles, they're probably a 3 to 4, 5 seed. I don't think they're at this time. I don't think they're a top 2 team in the West. Can they be? Yes. But fun fact: Santiago Patino, our big signing for forward, got his first goal against. Who did we play West? Chattanooga.
Yeah.
So that was his first goal of the season in any competition. So that was July 11th.
Yeah.
So for our starting forward, who hasn't been starting as much for that here, so I think defensively they're strong. Offensively, there's still some question marks for that here. Like I said, with Jorge Hernandez, Perano if he comes back healthy, Dmitry Irov, the young Russian, who's done really well with I think 5 goals this year. So like the midfield, the attacking mid is good. So I think defensively and midfield they're strong, but it comes to goal scoring, and I think and I think that goes for you guys as well. It's been the struggle, for both of our teams. We don't give up goals, but we don't score a lot of goals. And the problem with that, especially, I think for San Antonio, when it comes to playing, like Sporting Jack, when it comes to playing, Monterey Bay, we played Monterey Bay twice. We scored 0 goals in both games. So we drew 0-0. So those are important points, even though we're playing early. Getting 2 out of 6 points against Monterey Bay is going to come back and get you. Even if you are winning against, other teams, but I think for San Antonio, probably the same feel as you guys have, where we're not a poor team. Like, we're going to be in the playoffs. I just don't know, I don't know how far up the table would I guarantee, but I do think we're a top 4 team. For that here when the dust settles, barring injuries to Jorge or somebody key on the back line. But I think that's why our show, why when we discuss, it's like mirror images of each other. With you like what you see, but yet there's parts that you're like, the team, there's just something off on the team when it comes to the offensive side.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can certainly see that. When you have a team that struggles to put together that final connection, their final piece, and Jacob, we've struggled with this for years, right? We see the potential, we see things happening. As an outsider looking in, I said, you and I were talking about a couple weeks ago, about how San Antonio is playing. Realistically, the only blemish on their schedule since middle of May was a loss to Lexington, and Lexington's become one of the hottest teams in the league at this point. I mean, Jacob, as someone who tangentially follows San Antonio and keeps up with what they're doing, what do you see them doing well? I mean, we gave our projections last week. Where is this team? Where's our team, right? Where do you see San Antonio?
Well, I see them currently sitting second, but they, like Harry said, they just, something like the attack isn't great. I mean, they have 20 goals on a season through 15 matches. It's not the end of the world. I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Like, that's the hardest part of soccer, is putting the ball in the back of the net. And so it's not it's not atrocious. Like, I mean, they have 5 more goals than us. Granted, they've played 2 more matches, but like it's middle of the pack when it comes to the USL this year. And so, and we've seen consistently that the West is ridiculously tough. It's just a weird, like every match is like a knockdown, drag out fight. And so, like Harry said, I think there's potential there for them to be, a top 1 or 2 team in the West when all is said and done. But at the same time, no offense, Harry, they're just kind of boring this year. Like for a team that has Nicky and Jorge Hernandez and Tainter and Cargnale and all them, like they're not fun to watch for me like they have been in years past. And I mean, theoretically they should be. They're doing better this year than they were last year. And yet I just don't get excited when they play. And I, rightly or wrongly, I don't fear them when we play them. And so I don't know, it's an interesting year. You're muted, Harry. I don't know if I see your lips.
I
moving.
did that. Is there anybody in the West that you really fear? There's not.
No, there's not. I'm wearing a United kit. I have United flags behind me. This is a United podcast. So this should come as no one's surprise when I say I think we are the best team in the West. But I don't think we're like head and shoulders above everybody else in the West. Obviously, we're not in first place right now. Even if we win our remaining matches in hand, we'd be in first place by a point over San Antonio and Orange County if everybody wins their matches in hand, which I know is impossible. So I'm not – there's not a dominant team in the West. Like we've talked about it a bunch, but first place to last place, 13 points in the West.
Because are you a believer in Orange County?
No.
Yusuf?
No.
San Antonio, we're both on the fence. New Mexico United, I do think New Mexico could possibly finish above we're above us just because of the games in hand. Oakland doesn't scare me.
No, we just
Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is one of those kind of iffy teams if they get hot, but I don't think they have the depth to hang during the long season. El Paso, Tulsa, Sacramento. Lexington's the one sleeper team. They're the one team that I can really see making a huge jump, and they are. San Antonio's already played them twice. You guys have to play them, including this upcoming week. They are the one team that probably scares me, but right now they're 9th. Phoenix, I think they're going to be a dumpster fire. Vegas is Vegas, and Monterey Bay is Monterey Bay. So I think, honestly, there's 9 teams.
You skipped a team there when you went down that list, Harry.
Who?
Sacramento.
I don't consider Sacramento.
they don't exist.
Dude, this isn't the USL, Nicholas Murray power rankings where we inflate them up to the top 10. They'll make I say they make the playoffs. They didn't win it. They didn't win their group. But Sacramento doesn't scare me. The only one team that I worry about is Lexington. And because Lexington does have the payroll, Lexington does have the players. The question for them, and I think we said it at the start of the season, was it's going to take time for them to gel, and that's what's happened. Is if they've started putting it together, and luckily for San Antonio, they split with them. You guys get to face them, coming up with on Wednesday, right?
Tomorrow
on Wednesday, in Lexington, which I think is will be a tough match for you guys. But
I think tomorrow is clearly the best 2 teams currently, like current form. In the West are playing tomorrow. Lexington's in league play. their last loss was May 23rd.
3-1 to Indy.
They have beaten Lexington and El Paso by scores of 4-1, and then they beat San Antonio 2-0 since then.
And now, that 2-0 wasn't even as close as that.
Yeah. And I'm curious because two of their 3 group stage matches went to penalties against Detroit and Indy. And so I'm not sure, like, those are 2 decent teams. So a draw against them isn't a terrible result. And then they kind of got beat pretty good by Lou City. So it's kind of not sure what to make of that necessarily. But so I'm super excited for tomorrow's match. And we'll talk more about that here in a little bit, I'm sure. But yeah, Lexington is probably the team that I think is probably like the scariest, but we've seen super teams before kind of find a groove, but not fully gel. And so I use super team loosely there. It's just on paper, they are a fantastic team. It's just, we're halfway through this, not quite halfway through the season, and they're sitting outside of the playoff picture with that unbelievable roster on paper. So it's like, well, who are they really? I lean towards more who they've been playing or who they've been lately, much like us. But only time will tell that.
But here's the key, because we're at the second half of the season, really.
Just about.
Well, I believe San Antonio, if they could, would go out and get a impact player if needed. Does New Mexico have that same capability as well?
Oh yeah.
So
we've done
it. I think Peter would do anything he can. Don't get me wrong, because I think he's the best owner in the league.
We've done it. We've done it in the past, and because
we're getting to that time of the year where. Yeah, and I think you guys transferred somebody.
Yeah, we transferred Vargas out to Union
to free up a roster slot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that's we talked about that a little bit 2 weeks ago, right after that happened, right. And yeah, I think it's a possibility. I think Lexington has obviously shown that they'll go spend money, which
I don't think Lexington will though.
They shouldn't.
I think Lexington, because they already released 2 players this week. I think if anything, what they'll do is they'll do a subtraction to kind of free up, to make, to fortify the the roster rotation.
20 guys or so, yeah. I don't think they should bring in a name. And I think if you bring in a big name now with Lexington, with the role that they're on, they risk losing that momentum and shaking up the chemistry. And so, and I mean, the same could be said for New Mexico, but we're dealing with some injuries. We're still pretty thin in a couple spots, and so I think there's a move coming there.
Mm-hmm.
I think there could be a move coming to San Antonio. Harry, let me ask you this: if San Antonio goes out and makes a move, what do you want them to do?
Forward.
So the one spot where it's like everybody.
I don't think, and I know this is going to sound odd. I don't think Patino fits the system, even though this is his third time back with San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
To me, and we were talking about it, kind of off record in our chat here, is he drops he's being asked to play too far back, and he doesn't have that speed anymore to get back up and fill that role in the middle. So unless he's going to be kind of that poacher that just stays in the box and cleans it up, we need to get back, just that speed forward again. And I think that's why Sorto's playing, starting, more recently, is because he has that speed. But I do think that's where it is for San Antonio, because the attacking midfield, they're good. The center backs are solid, defensive mid solid. Joey, the young goalkeeper, you're not going to bench him just because I think then you ruin his career development for that here, and he's a San Antonio kid, so you're going to give him all the leash, and that's why you have Richard Sanchez as the backup for him. So goalkeeper solid. The only spot that I think San Antonio could really use if they could go out and get an impact player from MLS, kind of that young setting on the getting fringe minutes with the MLS team, would be getting that forward like they got with Tani, from Minnesota United, and Tani, from a couple of years ago, where he just came in and made a difference. But that's easier than done.
You know who I think they need, Harry?
Who?
I think they need a guy like Zico Bailey. Oh wait, you had him.
No, we don't need Zico. I like Zico. I don't understand why we got rid of him. But no, the midfield's not San Antonio's issue. It's the forward. That, and once again, I believe San Antonio's leading the league in yellow cards once again. So some things never change.
I mean, you have Tainter and Crognoli. Like, I don't know what else. Like, of course you lead the league in yellow cards. And Patino's not. I don't know how many Patino has, but he
hasn't played a lot, so he hasn't really. He hasn't really got a lot here.
Yellow cards per minute, he's up there, I bet.
Oh, we're tied. Phoenix and San Antonio at 48. Hey, New Mexico's a respectable tied with Loudoun at 39. So, and you guys haven't played two games, so
yeah,
you get those 5-6, you're right there with us. So, but I think that's just the problem with the West. And I think it's because you talk about how San Antonio doesn't play that attractive soccer. It's just because the game gets so stop and go just with the fouls and stuff. And to be fair, they're legitimate fouls. I'll complain about a couple, don't get me wrong, but overall, it's you can't really complain too much. So.
Yeah, I think, and this may be, I feel like the refereeing has gotten, to an extent, better this year within the USL. It's more consistent. Yes, that it is. That I don't disagree with that one bit. That's not to say there aren't still some questionable things.
There'll always be questionable calls.
Yeah, always be questionables.
Look at the World Cup. Where you have the best referees.
Supposedly the best referees in the world, right? But even they get it wrong, and obviously there's a lot to talk about with World Cup here as well. But yeah, midpoint in the season, we both teams have question marks. Jacob, we've talked, like where would we want to see something? We've seen Hursty dropping farther back. It'd
be a forward for you guys too, right?
I want to see a right back.
A right back, yeah. I want a legit right back. I mean, Lacava made his return on Saturday, which was great, right?
Not at right back, though.
Not at right back. But hey, there's our right back. So, but no, I agree. I think we need a legit right back. But
but defense isn't the problem with New Mexico. When I watch New Mexico, there's not a glaring hole defensively for New Mexico.
But
like San Antonio, I hate Ward because he gets too far up. I'm talking about I forget which side he's playing on, the right side. He gets too far up, and we get exposed, especially if it's speedy wingers that go down his side. But to me, it's just New Mexico defensively. You guys are solid. It's the goal scoring, and to me, I don't know if you guys have that type A goal scorer just like San Antonio.
Well, one, we never have. Two,
you've tried.
Two, a lot of we've proven that they, for whatever reason in New Mexico, we just can't have nice things like that. They just don't exist for us. But I will say that our right back in our system is an attacking player in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I think not having that right back, like even like Prime Astorga or Lacava earlier this year, or Lindsay last year, like our offense thrives when we kind of have like 2.5 at the back when we're in possession with Gloucester and then the 2 center backs. And then everybody else is kind of like creating chaos in different, like controlled chaos in different ways. And so we don't have that. And I also don't think we necessarily like need a striker that is like your kind of stereo. Like striker is such a weird position because there are 10 different ways to play that number 9 role.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we've tried them all and none of them have stuck other than Hurst. And what Hurst has done is be versatile, finish at times, and have the ability to create or be created for. And we've like Luther is a prime example of like the old school hold up poacher type, but he can't poach anything because I don't know how many sitters I've seen that guy miss this year. And so maybe if you could get Archimed plus finishing, we would have a double-digit goal scorer and somebody that could come in. But I also think that the way we play, we like to have versatility with whoever we're playing up top, and then also have the ability to bring in a guy like Luther with the hold-up and strength play. And so even if we brought in a guy that was Luther's kind of style but could finish, I'm not sure he plays enough to be a double-digit scorer because that's not how we prefer to start. And so, I don't know. I personally think if we bring in a right back is what I want. I think our wings are fantastic. Nava has really shown out as a depth piece with Niall while Niall's out. I think Niall is still our go-to at the right. I think Harris is still our go-to on the left. I think Noel and Hurst are still our go-to starters in the middle kind of spine. And I think that's been working, and the chemistry has been there, and we're making progress. So to me, the only hole, if I put out our A+ lineup, the only hole I see is at right back. I also wouldn't mind a decent defensive midfielder that's not Zelalem or Jafal, since we haven't seen them. We haven't seen Jafal hardly at all, and Gideon has been unplayable at times. And so we're putting a lot of stress and a lot of minutes on Zico and Jabang. And I wouldn't mind seeing somebody there. And so there's a few places that I think we could use at the most like some depth. I don't know if I think if you're going to bring in a starter, the only place to bring in a starter is right back. But a depth piece will never hurt.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. That's really the only hole. And look, Lacava's done a phenomenal job, but and we've said it all season. I'd rather see him farther up the pitch. Or if you're going to put him in that right back role, he needs to be the Brucey bombing, fullback. That's what he needs. That's what you got to play him as. But the way that we're playing him, that's not what we're getting. And I like what I've seen out of Lacava. But like I said, that's why I do think we need someone who can get forward. That in a designed fashion. But yeah, I don't think you replaced any of our starters. I don't think. Now, let me throw out a couple of names. Like, if for example, and I know they won't do it, but if Peter Wilson were available, is that something that you would either of you would jump on?
That's tough.
From the
I
roots?
think, yeah, I think he probably. I mean, he won the Golden Boot last year, and he's doing really good this year.
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably driven his price to a point where I don't know if I would pay it in hopes that he like.
29.
I'm New Mexico United. I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to pay the transfer fee and pay that guy's salary when we've had people that have been prolific scorers the year before, a la Nico Brett, and then come here and not deliver. And so it doesn't seem like a move that United would make in its ethos and its mantras.
Mhm.
And so I don't think I would go for it. And yes, a lot of his goals are penalties. Right.
I don't know. To me, I want a young, fast guy. I know that's. I don't know. Would I take him? Sure. Would it raise the expectation? Because you're bringing in a guy that's got 10 goals with Oakland.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody would turn away a defender or pardon me, a player that's got 10 goals. The issue is the fee, and to me the issue is he's 29.
Mhm.
Unless you're only buying in for this year to make that deep push, which obviously both of our teams are hopefully going to be doing that. So if you're looking just to take it on as a short term, sure, but it would just depend on what the cost is.
Mhm.
The issue is Oakland at this point is right there with both teams, so you would have to toss them a wheelbarrow or two of transfer money to do that.
Oh yeah, that's what, like, a guy, Peter Wilson himself more than likely not going to be available unless something were to fall off here in the next month for Oakland. But even then, like if they're in contention, I don't see anyone in the top 7 dropping players, right? So, and Bolte asked the question here: Do either of you think that our clubs potentially explore the MLS loan type offer? Is that something that's more likely to happen rather than intra-league move?
I think so.
Probably not, honestly.
New Mexico does. New Mexico has a history of it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do. Those moves have typically been earlier in the year. Keller was earlier. Thomas was earlier, and those moves in particular have been more injury forced than adding a piece late in the season. The pieces later in the season, we're only halfway through, like I said, but Vargas came from MLS Next. Who was the other one? We've signed some 25-day contracts in the past, like Coco
You're
Reyes.
wrong on Kip, though. Kip originally went to in August 22nd of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a late year addition that first year. Now he re-signed through there. But yeah,
he was still injury related, though. It was more like, we need depth. We need a starter at this position. So unless the MLS person is a right back or potentially a midfielder, but I think Jabang and Zico kind of have a really good thing going there, so that would be more of a depth piece in my opinion. Then I don't think that's the route they go. I think it would probably be more of maybe MLS Next Pro or an interleague or a USL League One player that is overperforming. But who knows? They might announce tomorrow that they're doing a deal with LA Galaxy for a kid or who knows. But to me, this year seems like more of, hey, let's add a depth piece with potential instead of a proven, like somebody that's going to come in and look to start right away. Especially with the form that we're in, the health that we are getting to, and the vision that I think is coming together. We've also, keep in mind, when last year was, Sanchez, we made a lot of moves because Sanchez was a first-year coach that didn't start till after January 1st, and so we had some tweaks to make to the roster. The year before, we really didn't do a whole lot except for Vargas, who didn't really come in and play with Quill. The year before that was Quill coming in and changing things. And so there have been different reasons for the mid-season additions than just to do it. They've been more either coaching shifts or injury replacements or stuff like that. So, and at this point, I don't know if we need like a guy. We could use a depth piece, but I don't think we need like a dude. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I'm pretty sure Board Again is not going to be available to anyone, but I could be wrong.
I didn't agree with you calling him that.
Yeah, I get. We've tried to sign these big name strikers, right? And just none of them have panned out. And let me ask you this too: is part of the hesitancy for us, Jacob? Is it because of our style of play? Just does not seem to build up or support that lone striker concept.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly like we value versatility up front and the ability to do multiple things and float multiple places and you know it's nice to have somebody that could maybe make a darting run and be strong and build up and have some hold up play, but that's a tool in our tool belt. It's not our go-to, right? That's not the hammer. That's the speed square type thing. And so I don't know. It's that plus like our system really relies on chemistry and, you know, really kind of knowing where you're going, knowing where everybody else is going to be and being able to play off of them. And if you get the perfect striker in there, fantastic. But I think Hurst is about as close to the perfect striker for our system as there is. And he's just not going to be the double digits goal scorer that we're craving. That's going to come off the wings for us more than likely. And because there's two wings, it's going to be split between a bunch of different players. And so
yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And just, I don't think we've ever had that style of play ever, you know? Yeah, you know, Dev and Kevon played well off each other. And I think that's what a lot of teams, you know, at least in our position, tend to want to do. You know, you have those two guys who can support and play off of each other. And, you know, Hursty's been dropping back more in recent weeks, and Coach Sanchez has talked about it. You get him drop him back, play more of that 10, get him going forward. Seems to be doing a little bit better for us. I mean, we're unbeaten in 7 in all competitions at this point. San Antonio's doing well. You know, last blemish again back in May. So both teams have a lot of positives going for them. You look forward to this week. Talk about, you know, we've got Lexington tomorrow. Obviously, Lexington, one of the hottest clubs in the conference, if not the league right now. You know, working their way back and trying to get above the playoff line. San Antonio, here you guys have Las Vegas this week. Now, obviously, you know, I think we could all agree we think that you guys should beat Las Vegas this weekend.
Oh, that screams like a draw to me.
You're muted again, Harry.
It screams 100% a draw, but I do.
Is this your first time, Harry?
It's been a long time. We haven't done a show in a while.
Yeah,
we're out here. But no, it screams a win, but just with how San Antonio's played down, a draw would not be shocking. And I think that's the problem for San Antonio fans. We haven't lost a lot, but we've gave away points that we know that's going to hurt us at the end, which feels like losses, which I know you guys know that feeling very, very well.
I would say not recently, but yes.
Yeah, we've certainly done that in the past. But yeah, as you said, Jacob, not recently. In fact, this past weekend we picked up a late win down at Southwest University Park, spoiling the return or the debut, not even the return, the debut of one football is life, Dani Rojas, who in 6 minutes of action picked up a yellow card. And
It was a soft
That's-
yellow. I will give him that.
But that's a typical San Antonio, New Mexico, El Paso. That's tradition, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that match, by the way, the second lowest attended match of the year, according to USLChampionship.com, in terms of El Paso home matches. So I don't know. I know we talked about is it a marketing ploy? If it was, it did not pan out in his first appearance. Now, I don't know how many people stuck around till the 85th minute to see if he actually made his debut, or if them teasing his number being on the sidelines was enough of a draw for folks. But
You're not going out to the game to watch him.
I mean, I for one, I'm not, but
And let's also not forget what was happening on Saturday night as well.
mm-hmm.
Because I know San Antonio, they probably tickets sold versus butts in the seats did not match. I'll just say.
No, that it did not.
What else was happening?
Argentina and
Okay.
who did they
Switzerland.
play? Yes.
The Swiss.
Which was a
Yeah.
good game, by the way.
That it was. That one was entertaining.
Swiss got screwed, but that's a whole separate discussion. We're not to there yet.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No,
They did. So did Norway. So
No, they didn't.
yeah, we'll get into all of that here shortly. But yeah, no, obviously, El Paso thinks he's either going to be a ticket draw or he can do something, but he did nothing on Saturday night.
He's not going to do anything.
I don't anticipate him doing anything. He's a 35-year-old forward.
I could see League One him doing something, but the talent level in USL Division 2 is underrated on the actual play, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of talent here, but due to U.S. soccer and setup and MLS not favoring USL talent or coaches, unless you're an elite player, I do think there is a lot of missed opportunities at this level for that.
Yep, I wouldn't disagree one bit. But yeah, to Bolty's point, the cameras were consistently on Dani Rojas throughout the night, whether he was on the bench or once he even more so once he got onto the pitch. Lots of camera attention. But yeah, it was.
So here's a question for you, Seth.
Mhm.
Who was the bigger name, Freddie Adu or Dani?
God, it's funny you mentioned Freddie Adu. I actually saw a TikTok where they were talking about potential men's roster for 2030. And
nobody's bringing up.
No, Freddie Adu is one of the names that got mentioned. They're like, is Freddie Adu going to be? They gave a whole bunch of names, current players, and they threw up Freddie Adu and a couple others. And
because when he came to USL, when he played, he was a name.
He was. Yeah, I think for those of us, in the U.S. soccer sphere, I think Freddie Adu would be a bigger draw than Cristo Fernandez. Being 100% honest, because it's a name people recognize. People who've been around it, they know the story about Freddie Adu. They know what happened to him, right? So for one of the youngest phenoms in soccer history, U.S. soccer history, to show up, that's a huge deal. And so I think that would have been a much bigger draw than Cristo.
But I will say this for El Paso, they can't really lose anything with having him bring in, because it does bring attention to the team.
Yeah.
Nationally, maybe not even as much locally, but nationally they do catch a little bit more notice, which for the league, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but for us that are close to it, it's kind of cringeworthy because that's not the coverage that we want. But to try to get coverage for a Division II league, you got to take what you can.
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit last week. Prior to their Monterey batch, there was an article that came out talking about how Cristo Fernandez was not going to travel. Like, yeah, it's you said it's cringe coverage for those of us that are in it. But for anyone who just knows the name, Ted Lasso, right? It does bring eyes in, so you can't fault them for that. That I agree with.
Oh, I can and I will, especially because the first match he plays is their lowest attended match of the season, basically. Like, it's not working. It's not working because they don't pour any money into the team other than to sign a 35-year-old Danny Rojas. They've brought in a few good players. Rubio Rubin is kind of chief among them, but they're just not performing. They're not giving the fans any kind of experience other than this guy. Like we talked about it last year, right? And the year before. Like we're worried about El Paso. Like they have issues that they desperately
they're like Phoenix.
Yeah, even worse though, because at least Phoenix has like history to an extent, and has like a year of being like outstanding, and has a star technically. El Paso has a baseball diamond, and I'm not necessarily shitting on the baseball diamond because we have a baseball diamond too. But like, I've heard jack shit about a stadium for them. They're pouring into their team on and off. Like 2 years ago when they were dead last, I think they had a decent roster to start the year, but it didn't work out and they didn't make changes. Last year they started off strong, they petered out. This year they started off strong, they're petering out. And nothing's being done other than a 35-year-old actor, essentially. And so I'm concerned about them, and it's weird because Seth, do you have the same, like, does El Paso and Sacramento or El Paso and Phoenix mean as much to you when we play them as it used to?
I'm going to say real quick, it's funny you bring up your concerns about El Paso. It's almost like you were listening to mine and Harry's pre-show conversation. Yes. We were discussing the problems with El Paso.
Well, it's been that way for 3 years now.
Yeah. No, it
has.
We
talked about it for 3 years.
Yeah. And I've mentioned it. We've talked about it on air about the rivalries and who is what and this, that. San Antonio is a bigger rivalry for me now than either Phoenix or El Paso. Colorado Springs is a bigger rivalry now than either of those two. I would much, and yes, I always want to beat both of them. Fine, whatever. But to me, the matches that are more entertaining, the ones that I'm like, okay, I don't want to miss this. Like, I want to go to an away day for this. Like, I want to, like, it's on my calendar, circled San Antonio and Colorado, more so than Phoenix and El Paso. But yeah, like, I don't know what's going on with the ownership group in El Paso. I don't know what's going on with the ownership group in Phoenix. Harry and I were discussing before the show, what's going on with stadium stuff. And like, we kind of know where ours is at. Fairgrounds is essentially a done deal, right? We know this. As far as it's essentially a done deal because there's far more freedom for the club than Balloon Fiesta and less court issues and all that. We also know with El Paso, their general manager and president gave an interview earlier this year saying, yeah, we should do a stadium. And that was it. No plans, nothing. They've been in the league just as long as we have, and they've never even attempted to locate or find a site or build it or obtain financing that we're aware of.
Well, there were discussions way when they first came in that they were going to try to build a stadium over one of the freeways where it was going to be elevated. along those lines here. But yeah, no, I don't think it's Mountain Star, right? The sports group.
Yes.
I don't think that they will build a stadium until USL says, hey, you either got to build a stadium or you go to League One, or you're forced out like they did. They've done it to a couple. I guess Memphis is a team that you could kind of say that, hey.
Technically OKC too.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they're coming back, but essentially
we'll see if they come back. They're going to get a stadium. We'll see what league that they end up in.
Yeah.
That's a discussion.
But yeah, I mean, so there's issues there. We had discussions at the end of last season because it took them forever to make any sort of announcement. We thought that maybe that was the end of El Paso, right? We've seen Austin Bold. We've seen the franchise rights be sold. We've seen the rights to San Diego, to RGV. We've seen the rights to San Diego get sold, right? We've seen a number of changes. Yeah, there's more teams coming in, and this still, we could probably go on for hours about the stability of USL. And even you introduced the pyramid and all that, like, really, how stable is this? But you've got El Paso, a club that came in at the same time that we did, right? No word at all. At least we've attempted. We actually had an agreement signed, ground broken, site picked out, ready to go, right? Now, at the flip side, you've got Phoenix, who keep doing these pop-ups, right? They've moved their stadium location. There are issues with the current location. There's issues with the ownership there.
It's more ownership. Yeah. The stadium's not in a bad spot.
Well, the city wants to expand to put the airport. They want to build more on the airport there, from what and talking to in the conversation I had with Owen. So that's not a long-term feasible solution for Rising. So, like, they have the ability to move the stadium. They've already done it. So, but I think there's issues with ownership there. I think there's issues with ownership in El Paso. There are some others that I am concerned about as well. But those are the two that stand out as, hey, there's a problem here. They're losing the fan bases.
But we can say that in San Antonio as well.
Is it that bad?
Yes. It's covered because I think San Antonio is big enough to where, just from a entertainment aspect, San Antonio can draw 5,000 to 6,000. We're the 7th largest city in the United States. San Antonio can draw 5,000 to 6,000 just through there. But when you if you actually look at the season ticket members, that's where like my concerns for San Antonio FC is just they've burnt a lot of bridges with the season ticket members. So we'll see if they can turn around. But the problem in this is why I say Peter is a much better ownership. He's an owner, not an ownership group like San Antonio FC is. Peter actually cares. He's out there. He's with the fans. He's with the team. He engages with you guys. I couldn't tell you who our sporting director is. I know who he is, but I couldn't tell you if I saw him walking down the street. I definitely couldn't tell you any of the Holtz, with the Spurs, just because they don't hang out with common people. Don't get me wrong. And for San Antonio FC, it's a side project. I guess you could kind of say being part of the Spurs, which it's not a bad project, but there's so much more opportunity that San Antonio could do. That you see teams like New Mexico do. Like, it's not a secret here in San Antonio, but San Antonio does not market to the Hispanic side of San Antonio at all. Along those lines here, there's nothing on the south side of town. Where the times that I've been to New Mexico and the times that I've talked with you guys and other New Mexico fans, Peter does a great job of marketing throughout not only Albuquerque area but the entire state, compared to San Antonio. So, but that's the issue. I think when you're talking about El Paso, Phoenix, and San Antonio, and there's a few others, but those are the 3 teams that I follow closely. Is they burnt a lot of the fan base, the passionate fan base. You don't like. we go to the fan voting. It used to be Phoenix used to dominate. San Antonio used to be fairly dominant. New Mexico United used to be fairly dominant, and El Paso always kind of trailed just because they don't have that big of a fan base, just in the market. But if you look at the fan votes, I say all 4 of our teams are a fraction of what they used to be. So, and whether that's just hey, we've been here, done that, and the USL is going to do what the USL does for fan votes. It doesn't really matter. So, but to me, for the ownership groups, because let's be honest, the World Cup's going to be over. Owning a USL Division II team is not a money-making opportunity. It's not. And I'm disappointed in San Antonio's marketing of the World Cup for it here, meaning that it really hasn't been any that they could have took advantage of for that here. Part of the reason is they were off for most of the World Cup because they thought they were going to be a site that was going to host a team, and that did not come to fruition. But I don't know how your guys' feeling was of it, but from my understanding in Phoenix, they didn't do a whole lot as an organization to market. I don't know if New Mexico did, and I don't believe El Paso's done a lot with it as well. Plus, let's be honest, in El Paso, they burnt their favorite mouthpiece, and I know I'm not friends of you guys, but seriously local, they burnt that bridge, along those lines, and you just can't do that.
Yeah, no, you can't. And obviously we've seen what happened there. And like I said, we've worked to build a really good relationship with our ownership group, with our front office, with the communications manager, and they do a phenomenal job by us. And we try to be respectful of their time as well. So I talked to Carlos Tenorio. Like, we don't ask for players mid-season. Like, we generally don't. And I know it makes it harder in the offseason to get the guys and whatnot, but during the week it's tough, right? We know that they have long days, long practices, and things like that. But yeah, no, the ownership group has done a really good job. Looking around as far as World Cup goes, the club partnered with the city to an extent to help host watch parties. We didn't do anything at the stadium. We were announcing scores and things during the matches. Obviously, we're being supportive. With Hursty, we were providing updates for the Scotland matches, things of that nature. To the point where someone actually emailed Carlos and said, "Stop giving World Cup updates in the middle of matches." So yeah, and we had, we were talking about that, Carlos and I were, and the rest of us in the press box. And so, like, even with the club being supportive and trying to step up and help out with the bigger stage and continue to promote the world game, like, there are people that are like, "Stop. We don't want it. We don't want to hear that, right? We want to come to the United, just focus on United." So I see both sides of it. It's a tough spot. I mean, the USL is not going to, USL Championship teams, USL League One teams, you're not going to make money off of them. You're not going to make it, these guys aren't going to flip these teams, right? Like you see them flipping, MLB and NFL and, NBA teams. Like, it's not going to happen. But yeah, we're very fortunate to have a great ownership group led by a great guy. And they want to invest. Peter has a 100-year plan. He wants soccer to be here for 100 years. He wants New Mexico United to be here in 100 years. So, there's always moving pieces. There's always going to be concerns about the stability of the league, even with ProRel, with the league continuing to try to expand and grow and all of that. And, we'll be here. We'll be here until we're not anymore. And, the next couple of seasons are going to be real interesting to see how this league grows and can it sustain that, especially after ProRel comes in, if it does. I'm still not 100% convinced, but who knows? USL Power Rankings and Team of the Week are a joke. Why should Team of the Week is decided purely by USL Championship. That doesn't have anything to do with media vote, fan vote, nothing. Power Rankings,
Hey, Seth was liking this week's. Oh no, pardon me. Christina was liking this week's power ranking.
She was
for some reason.
Yeah, USL Championship power rankings. A non-league match, and we move up 4 spots. So to third in the power rankings. But yeah.
But do you even? So you guys are diehards of the league. Do you guys pay attention to those anymore? I don't.
No, I really don't. For the most part, like I know it says Nick Murray at the top, but to be honest,
and I like Nick. Nick's a nice guy. To all credit to
he
Nick
is, and Nick interacts on social media. He pops into the USL subreddit, and he's active on Blue Sky, more so than anywhere else that I've seen. And he's a good guy. He puts in a lot of work. I wish Nick had help, because to be honest with you, I don't think Nick is able to watch every single match. And we've talked about, I don't think USL show watches every single match. I don't think some of these other shows, we clearly don't watch every match, right? But when you have, yes, power rankings are a what have you done for me lately? Like, they really are. They should be reflective of your current form. And when Sacramento's sitting in the top 10 for as many weeks as they were, with a record that they had, like, it doesn't make any sense. And this is where the same thing with Morrissey's projections, right? This is, I think Morrissey's projections, while it should be some basis to them in historical context, I think it's too heavily weighted in history. Because his ranking, his projections every year really, really love Phoenix and Sacramento and Orange County, right? And I think we saw it last year. They were projected really high up until the very end. So, yeah, there needs to be more eyes. There needs to be more media eyes. There needs to be more of us doing things like this, getting eyes on the league, getting people invested and interested in hanging out and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I don't look at power. I look at them, but I'm like, whatever. Because I truly don't believe Nick Murray watches all of them. I really don't. Was USL's pro grab a money grab? We'll see.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
I do think USL wants to do it, because USL has to do it, or else they're gonna get steamrolled by MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for the pro rel in the United States, it needs a league like USL to test it out, because if it does show success, then MLS will jump on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, I know this isn't going to be popular, but that'll be when there'll be some sort of merger or buyout, whatever that you want to talk about, between MLS and USL. Because I do think at some point we are going to see that, just because everything's being consolidated just in the United States, and every market, it seems here. So I do think at some point we're going to see a combination of USL MLS teams combined. Under what name? Who knows? Who cares? It'll be some monster. I guess like Monster Big 12. It'll be Monster US Soccer, something like that here. So, but no, to me, I don't think it's a money grab. I do think it needs to be tested to see if it'll work in the United States, just because of the type of systems and laws that we have. And I think USL is the perfect professional league to test that theory out.
Yep. I don't disagree. Jacob, do you have a dissenting opinion over there? You're shaking your head a little bit.
I just don't think MLS will ever adopt pro rel. There's too much
money. It will
money.
If there's money.
No, the current owners of MLS teams will not risk losing money. They will not voluntarily sign up to possibly be relegated. There's no way. It just won't happen. Because if there's money, it doesn't mean that if there's money in it in the USL level, that there'll be money in it at the MLS level. And personally, I don't think it's a money grab by USL because I don't think it's going to pole vault us
Nope.
anywhere near MLS.
Nope.
I think it will be a success amongst soccer fans already in the US. It to me is not something that is going to draw in the everyday fan right away anyways. And
Well,
so
let me ask you this question. The women's game, USL already has a quote unquote Division One women's league.
Mhm.
Do you even think of it as comparable to NWSL? I don't.
No.
And I know they just started I think it started last year, right? Or if memory serves me correct. But they're already talking about switching that back to the same calendar that we're on, while MLS is talking about going to the FIFA calendar. So that'll be the other interesting aspect for New Mexico in the future, because they've talked about having a women's team. Is you're going to have both the men and women playing at the same same time as far as on the season. So, but to me, that's why for ProRail, I don't think it's a cash grab, but I think the only way you can put the discussion to bed is to have a professional league try it and either succeed or fail. It's the only way you're going to be able to end that discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I don't disagree with that one bit. There was another question: is there any more to the 1017 story? I talked about it a bit last week. So yeah, my time with 1017 is coming to an end at the end of the month. They decided to take all of their digital assets, social media, all that type of stuff in-house. I don't know what the overall plan for the station is in terms of their stuff moving forward. I can tell you in the very short term, some of the feedback that I had given to the more hands-on individual was, be involved, more Lobo stuff, more MMA stuff, and they did that this weekend, and it is doing numbers. I told them, provide me with content, we'll put it out and do good things, and they didn't. They're doing it in-house, and it's doing really well for them. So someone finally listened to the feedback I was giving. It's working well, and so far. I was provided with an updated broadcast schedule for 1017 through the end of the season. I posted it over in the Discord. As sparse as the coverage was for the front half of the season for New Mexico United. So we have the 8-1 match, which we already knew about coming up for United. That one is against, Colorado Switchbacks. The only match that I know of that is not being carried is the August 8th match against Monterey. Beyond August 8th, 1017 will carry Tulsa, Loudoun, Lexington, San Antonio, Indy. Sorry, that looks like the Las Vegas Lights match on September 5 is not in there as well. So Indy 11, Colorado Springs, Sac Republic, Tulsa again, Phoenix Rising, Monterey, San Antonio, El Paso, and all playoff matches. So the back half of the year, 1017 is picking up significantly more broadcasts. I don't know what changed between the first half of the year and the second half, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't know much else beyond that. I don't know what other plans the station has. I can tell you to this point in the month, no one from the station has reached out to me about transitioning anything or my potential for future roles with the station or projects with the station. I don't know. But yeah, that's where that's at right now. Yeah. Well, so whatever they decide to do, they decide to do. But all right, before we get out of here, guys, we have one more area that we do need to cover, and that is, of course, the World Cup. We are one match away from the World Cup final. At this point, France has advanced. And if you want to back up, I mean, we can. France beat Morocco last weekend in the quarterfinal 2-0. Spain beat Belgium 2-1. England by the wire of God defeated Norway 2-1, and Argentina defeated Switzerland 3-1 on Saturday evening. And then today, France beat Spain, France lost to Spain 2-0. I thought almost messed that one up. And then England and Argentina play tomorrow. That's a 1 p.m. Mountain kickoff, I believe.
Yep.
So I'm assuming the is to the cable of God. In case you missed it.
Or it could have been you saying France advanced.
It could have been, yeah. Could have been that as well. But yeah, anyway, is there anything in particular? Like, I mean, I kind of want to talk about the England-Norway match because that ball changed. The trajectory on that ball took a dynamic shift. So
I still haven't seen a video that convinces me that it for sure hit something.
Harry, did you happen to see that one?
I did. I'm gonna call BS on FIFA. And I don't know where they're calling BS on because in the the USA match where the ball glazed the person's head that they're like,
yeah, the hair and the
hair, the head, which benefited the US. Don't get me wrong, but
it wasn't a US game.
It was.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was the Croatia, right?
It was Croatia, Portugal.
I thought the U.S. benefited from one of their final group
stage. They benefited from one of the red card calls that happened in what match was that just the other day?
Well, either way, there was one where the ball slightly grazed somebody's head that benefited a team. And they said, hey, we have record of the ball touching and changing it. So if they have record of that, then they turn around and say, hey, we have no record of it hitting the drone cable or whatever that it is. One of them's lying. Because one, you can see that it changed. And one, you don't really see any change, and the calls do not line up directly. But I don't know. It's with VAR, it's benefited the larger teams. I don't think there's any dispute about that. But we got the top 4 teams according to the FIFA rankings along those lines here. So. And I picked France to win, which obviously they are not going to win. So I guess the question is do we want blah, blah? I would rather not. But for me, my bad on underestimating Spain. They historically have done a very good job in major competitions. And I guess if you're going for the Americas, you got to go for Argentina.
So, Jacob, there's plenty of clips, by the way. But yeah, the argument is that the ball clipped the drone cable.
I've seen all those clips, Seth. None of them have convinced me 100% that a ball hit a cable.
I don't know.
I was rooting about as hard for Norway as you could possibly see somebody rooting for Norway. Erling Haaland has been my favorite player since his Dortmund days when I was a Dortmund fan. But 2 things. One, even if it did hit the fucking cable, terrible defending on that goal. There's like 7 guys around 3 England players, and he still is able to somehow get a shot off. And that's early enough in the game that even if they call that cable hit, then that doesn't mean that Norway's going to walk away with it. That was in the first half. It was like halfway through the first half. You still have 3/4 of the game to go. It by no means dictated anything. And it's what's more of what could be more egregious to me is something like a red card that affects the rest of the match, or a penalty that almost assuredly gives you a goal. Like when they didn't call the ball hitting the cable, they didn't know that was going to lead to it. It wasn't a decision that was made going, hey, we're going to help England out here because we saw the ball hit the cable at midfield and we're going to let them go score. Like, they didn't know that they were going to go score. That's not – it can be a bad call, but it wasn't like they got screwed. And so, yes, thank you, Mike. He should have passed it to him. I think there's way more calls that have happened even in today's match that I could see an argument for. But overall, the complaining about the refereeing is utterly ridiculous in my head. Every call that I have seen has been technically correct. It feels dirty because we've seen a shit ton of VAR and a shit ton of re-refereeing the game after the fact. And I don't necessarily like that. But the Morocco goal that they disallowed, we've seen that before. It hasn't necessarily been 100 yards away, but it's been 60 yards away before. We saw the red card against Switzerland a few days ago. We saw that exact same situation that benefited the U.S. when Tim Ream got booked for a yellow, and then they went back and looked at it, and they said, oh, no yellow on him. It's going to be a yellow on this guy for simulating.
Yeah, but even that was a misapplication.
No one was within 5 feet of that guy, the Swiss player, when he flopped. He deserved a yellow. He was already on a yellow. He deserved to get sent off. The right call was made. The penalty today, you cannot kick a player without touching the ball.
Did you not think that was a possible red card? Because that was pretty high up.
No, it very well.
I thought it was possible. I thought it could have been possible red card just because it was on the thigh.
Possibly, but if the if the attacking player had not been, it would have been harsh. I mean, look at Dean. He's got his back to the attacking player. He doesn't really 100% know where he's at. Like, is it unsafe? Yeah, but red would have been harsh there.
Mike, you are older than me, sir, and I know this because you have a son. Brennan is your son. What is fair? Nothing is fair.
Nothing's 100%.
Give me accurate over fair when it comes to that kind of stuff all day, every day.
The problem is
and I would argue that accurate is fair. What is unfair about those things?
Here's my issue is some teams are getting the benefit of calls and some teams are not. That's where, to me, it's the consistency. Because if you're going to call that foul against Morocco, on the opposite side of the field, and yes, technically they are correct because the change of possession did not change, but you could have a foul in most plays that are not called on the buildup of a play, depending on how far back you go along those lines. But to me, like I said here, it's been a better World Cup than I thought it was going to be. Politics only got involved in the most unlikeliest way. And I'm not really going to touch on that. Everybody knows what the politics war. To me, it'll just the final will be a cluster because from my understanding, President Trump does plan on handing out the trophy. Oh, they backed out of that.
I'm curious, Mike, what 50-50s are you talking about? And I'm assuming you're saying they're going to Argentina. I just don't see it.
I think Argentina and England are the two teams that have benefited from calls.
They're also the best teams, though. They
I think England has the most talent. Yes. I don't know if you could say Argentina is the best team. They have Messi, and I think Messi's like Michael Jordan, where he gets those calls, and he's earned them. He's the GOAT.
I'm just not seeing the calls, though. I don't understand. Like, every call that I have seen that has been quote unquote controversial is the right call.
Well, here we go. The first, no, you can't say that because the boot that he had in the first game that he should have got a red card on, he didn't even get any.
Okay, fair.
So there have been subjective calls, yes.
Similar to the red card for Flo.
Right.
All I have seen, I did not watch that first Argentina game live, so I've just seen the still shot, which
It was a red.
still shots lie all the time. And so if I saw it, I would probably remember it, but I haven't seen it, so it didn't stick in my memory.
Like Flo's, when you slowed it down, you're like, oh, that's bad. When Messi did it live, you were like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah, see, and I never saw it. I never saw it at game speed, full speed. I never saw it live, or I just saw the still shot.
That was my issue.
That's on me for not seeing that. But
it's not. It's Messi's going to get those calls, and he's earned it. He's one of the greatest players. Just like Ronaldo gets those calls, Mbappe gets calls. The greats get the calls. They've earned it. It is what it is.
That's also one call in like 400 minutes of match play.
Yeah, but if Messi gets that red card there, that changes a lot for Argentina, or it could possibly change a lot for Argentina, I guess I'll say, because they do have quality behind them. But to me, like I said here, I think going in, I think America has shown the greatness of it, which we all know that it is outside of the politics and the social aspects of it. But from a World Cup aspect, for the United States, the stadiums have been full, which I was kind of surprised with the prices. So it priced us out, but it hasn't priced everybody out because the stadiums are full, hotels are full. Everybody, according to, if you follow YouTube videos, most foreign fans are having a great time. So the size of the tournament you didn't have the big blowouts like everybody was anticipating going in. In fact, you had Cape Verde kind of still to show as a smaller nation. So to me, like I said here, my takeaway from this, no matter who wins, is the United States has shown very well. And I think overall how we kind of whined about, hey, there's too many teams, and I think they're already talking about expanding it to 64. I think I saw here.
That's wild. The expansion is not the answer here.
I disagree, though. To give these smaller nations an opportunity on a big stage, they've shown that they can play.
I will say, I think expansion is overall can be an issue, but without expansion this year, we wouldn't have had the Cape Verde Spain draw, which is looking more and more impressive as the tournament goes on. We wouldn't have had Curacao drawing or tying with Germany for 30 minutes and it meaning so much to those Curacao fans. We wouldn't have had Haiti playing and doing they didn't do a whole lot, but they still had moments, right? Like there are stories and memories that not just for the players on the field, but also the fans back at home and stuff like that are that those fans and those players will never forget. And without expansion, that doesn't happen. That being said, just because we got away with it with 48 doesn't mean you add 16 more that there's not going to be some 9, 10, 11 nil losses somewhere along the way. And I think we should stick with 48 for a little while.
Oh, I don't know.
And at least see if that trend continues of the lower end countries still competing.
And we can't forget DR Congo and Portugal 1-1, and the goal that DR Congo scored way back early in the tournament.
DR Congo and England was an awesome moment too. And so a ton of cool moments from some of those lower teams that would not normally be here.
But this does show the depth of of the European sides, because I think it was 6 out of 8 of the final 8 were from UEFA along those lines here. So for the Americas, CONCACAF, CONMEBOL, definitely need to see some more growth for that here. But Seth, here's a question for you too. Successful tournament for United States?
The country or the team?
No, the team, U.S. men's national team.
No. I mean,
this is the ending. It's the last game that ruined it, right?
It's. Yeah, I mean, we
won the group.
You win the group. You go into the knockouts. I mean, I felt we were a quarterfinal at best team, but we did not show up against Belgium. That was not the same quality of play. You look at and I know Pulisic, but you look at Pulisic's performance.
It was poor all tournament in my opinion.
Was poor throughout he wasn't great throughout the tournament. He definitely did better in group stage and he did the knockouts. I'll give him that.
Christian, sorry, I was distracted.
Yeah, Pulisic, and then
he had a.
Then obviously he fractured his tibia and whatnot, but like
the first half of the Paraguay game, he was incredible, and then he got hurt, and then he wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like that seems like probably makes sense, right? Like, I just wanted to point out that like it wasn't like he was 100% the rest of the tournament, and when he was 100%, he was probably the best player on the pitch in our group.
Not named
by far that first 45 minutes.
I will say this. I think it was a success for the United States because going into the tournament, nobody had the United States winning that group. So the fact that they won the group was a surprise.
Handily.
They got through Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Handily.
And I personally think the whole red card getting reversed screwed the United States because number one, it pissed Belgium off. So instead of Belgium maybe going a little bit light into it, they were 100% focused, and the United States was distracted by all the hoopla of, hey, will he not play along those lines? And taking the politics aside, I just think when you piss off a team like Belgium that has better talent than the United States, that they were focused on that game where I think if that doesn't happen and I think they just absorb the red card, they roll with Pepe or whatever, I think it's a completely different game where it's a closer game as opposed to the 4-1 result here. But the U.S. came out flat. I said it was almost like watching San Antonio FC where they were a half a step late.
Mm-hmm.
The 50-50 balls all went away. They couldn't do anything offensively to save their life. And then you had the goalkeeper gaff and the defensive gaff for the last goals, and it was just a complete meltdown. But if you take away that game in that scenario, the U.S. men's national team was positive, had gotten support from not only in the United States, but support from outside of the United States. And then the red card issue happened, and the politics of that and all that stuff came into play. Where I just think when that came in, that killed USA's chances of getting by Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, to me, for the U.S. men's national team, I still think it was a success. When we look back at it, I don't think you bring back the coach Pochettino. I think he goes to other pastures just because I think he can get more money, and it's 4 years.
We don't try to bring him back, or he doesn't come back.
I don't want him back at all. Period.
Really?
I'm not a believer in the coach getting a second cycle for the World Cup. It never works unless you're winning. Unless you want it. That for me, it's never worked here. I've never been a fan of it. And like I said, I think for him personally, if you bring him back, he's going to get a club job that's going to pay him more. I don't think he's in the position long term.
I don't know if he'll come back or not, but I think it's kind of wild to not want.
I think U.S. men's national team will. I think U.S. soccer will try to do it. For me personally, I would not want him back. I would rather bring in somebody new because it's going to be a new group of players. Okay.
No.
Although somebody did say somebody did say, hey, the fact that a Berhalter made the pitch shows what's wrong with U.S. soccer and the lack of depth that we have. So, but I think the young Berhalter is a decent player.
Yeah, he's a decent player, but no, we don't need GGG.
But
back.
I do think and I know this might not be popular here, I do think what the USA needed was a Diego Luna type of player that would, kind of that Clint Dempsey that'll do the dirty stuff, and we did not have that in this tournament. For that here, maybe just because Diego Luna was in USL and I've got to know him, and while I hate him, I think it would have been awesome, and I think he would have brought something to the U.S. men's national team that they could have used in that USA Belgium game. But that's me.
I don't disagree with that, but that Belgium game, like you already mentioned, the red card screwed us there. Like the getting the red card in the first place, which should have never happened. The whole hullabaloo after the red card, then it getting his suspension getting suspended, and then Trump being involved. It all of it just sucked. Like it created a circus around us and distracted us. And you can't watch that game and then watch the Bosnia game and think it didn't, because those were the same players and two different teams out there. And so I don't know.
Well, Flo even came out today saying that it did impact the United States.
Yeah, it 100% did.
100% impacted in that the players were nervous. And
so no, I think overall, you didn't ask me, but I'm going to give you my opinion anyways. It was a huge success I think it was a huge success for the U.S. men's national team. We've never seen them play as confident and well as we did in that Paraguay game, the Bosnia game, to an extent, the Australia game, and the Turkey game didn't really matter, and so it is what it is. But even that game was fun. Like, they played an exciting brand of soccer that was fun to watch. And I think even if we lose 3-0 or 3-1 to Belgium, the one thing that I think might make me go, actually, no, this was a disaster for the U.S. men's national team is the Matt Freese blunder and that goal. Because that is the clip that's going to live on in infamy. As far as a negative,
what sucks for Freese, if you really think about it, prior to that, he was having a great World Cup.
Yeah,
he'll be remembered, because I was like, going in, I was like, hey, goalkeeper's a weakness, and I was like, it really hasn't been a weakness, and then he did.
And then it was a massive weakness.
Yep. Yeah, his mistake, and then Chris Richards' mistake. You can't have that stuff. Not on that stage. Carlos, how you doing, buddy? Did you make the trip out to Lexington?
So who wins tomorrow and who wins the cup? And by tomorrow, I mean Argentina and England, not New Mexico yet.
I said Argentina 2-1, but my picks have been horrible as the later rounds go on.
You heard it here first, guys. Go put all your money on England.
It would not shock me that England wins. But to me, like I said, I just think Argentina will do it, and I still don't understand why they play a bronze medal or a third place match at the World Cup. I don't understand that for that here, but one more game of soccer, I guess. But to me, like I said, get Argentina, Spain. That'll be a tremendous final on Sunday.
Yep, that it would. Yeah, I mean, FIFA's in it for Argentina. So I think Messi gets another hat trick tomorrow. All three penalties, all three given up by Harry Kane. Panenka's all three of them right down the middle. Jordan Pickford can't do anything.
But give me New Mexico United 2 and Lexington 1.
Okay. Christina had texted her prediction for that one as well. I believe Christina
1-0.
said 1-0. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've got Argentina over England tomorrow. I just look, as much as I would rather see England win this one just to, send Messi home, I don't think they do it. I mean, England is notorious for coming up short, and they're not going to do it against Argentina. So yeah, Spain, Argentina in the final. And to me, honestly, I would rather see Spain win it, but who knows? I think Spain has the ability.
I didn't realize you were a Messi hater, Seth.
I have nothing against Messi in particular.
Bullshit.
You were Team Ronaldo. You were Team Ronaldo, weren't you?
No, honestly, no. I like I said, Harry, you're not talking. I was all in on France winning this thing.
I thought France would win it all too, but
yeah. So yeah, I was all in on France. After seeing the group stages and everything we saw, to me it was either France or Germany, and then Germany.
Oh, I was never on Germany.
Just the way that they looked, like I knew that they had some issues, but I felt like they were a strong enough team to potentially come out. And my prediction was whoever won, France, Germany, would have won it. But yeah, I mean, it's never like an anti-Messi thing. I just, other than the fact that he won't play on turf. So
you just said you want him to lose.
Yeah.
Two separate games.
Yeah.
You said you want him to lose against England, but he probably won't. And you said you want him to lose against Spain.
Exactly.
For FIFA, Argentina win. Who's the bigger story winning? Messi, or would England be winning? Would be the bigger story?
England.
Messi, and what's most likely his final full World Cup.
That was the story. That was already the story last year. That was what everybody was saying last cup was he wins it. Finally, he gets the monkey off his back. He can retire, and he's still here. And I think he'll still be here next time.
Well, the only reason I think I'll be here next time is to play that opener in Argentina, and that's it.
No, we've already had this discussion between me and Seth. I think he plays the whole damn thing.
No.
Yeah. Why not?
No.
Why not?
Because what better way to go out, right? You qualify as a host nation. You get in. You play the final. You play your final match of your international career in front of your home.
Nation.
Yes, it is. It's a
host nation. It's a host nation.
No, that's not.
There's 6 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I understand on paper. That's what it says. In the spirit of the host nation title, hosting one game does not qualify you as hosting a fucking World Cup, in my opinion. Not enough.
There is no way that Messi's going to make it, because it's going to be, 2030, right?
2030, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be 43 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So?
I could see him being the manager.
No. He's going to be playing. I guarantee you.
No, he'll play the one match, and then he'll go. Then he'll step on the stage besides Zlatan. Yeah, it'll be Zlatan and Messi on the podium.
Hey, I was impressed with Zlatan.
Dude, he's been phenomenal. He's been a lot of fun to watch.
Hold on, I'm not willing to let this go. Sorry. So,
okay.
Ronaldo played this year at age 41.
Mm-hmm.
Messi is not the physical freak that Ronaldo is, but that's not his game. I haven't seen Messi run on defense in 10 years.
That is true.
Like, he does not have to be the physical specimen that Ronaldo is to make a difference. He can play a full 90 matches or full 90 minutes, make 3 runs, score 2 goals and get an assist, and England moves on. He can do that in 4 years.
But where is he playing? Where is he playing? Still in MLS?
Yeah, he's still in Miami. He loves it in Miami. His family's happy. He gets to cruise through the season, which saves him for the World Cups. Like,
he'll only play like 15 matches because half of them are on turf. And
you gotta let the turf thing go, Seth.
No,
if I was a professional athlete of his level, I would not play on turf either. Fucking hate turf. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think he plays.
I think he
And
plays,
so-
and I think he hosts I think he gets the title.
Mhm.
But this year,
But
like,
I think he retires, because then you're going out John Elway style, winning back-to-back Super Bowls.
but I don't think he wins it this year.
I think he does.
One.
Do you
And
think Spain wins? Do
Yeah.
you think he makes it all the way to the finals, playing in New Jersey, New York area?
also, the original question that started this conversation was what would be a bigger story, England or Argentina? And I said England.
Well, I think England's the bigger story. I think
Yeah.
I think that. However, I do think Argentina is the one that does lift the cup. But
I tell you why I don't think that, because these next two matches, if they beat England, are going to be by far the two hardest matches that they have, and they have not blown the doors off of these lesser opponents. Even the Swiss, down a man, kept it competitive until the bitter end. And so,
but I will say this for England. They probably played in the toughest environment, beating Mexico
Mm-hmm.
in Azteca at night. I do think that's playing in that environment. And I know it won't be quite the same. Well, I guess it could be, because I don't know who would be considered the home team, Argentina or because this is in Atlanta Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You think Argentina will be a bigger draw than English fans?
No, I don't think so.
You think it'll be a pro England crowd?
Yeah.
it'll be about as 50-50 as you can get.
Because it's been Argentina's been playing mainly Argentina crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Where
And I would say it's going to be like I give Argentina an edge, but it's not Argentina. It's Messi.
No, there's a lot of talent on there. Now he does
But
win.
I'm saying as far as like the fan base,
yes,
the fan base is they will wear an Argentina shirt.
like my son has a
it will
Messi
say
shirt.
Messi on the back.
Yeah, my son wears
So
it
they are
every
Messi
time.
fans more than Argentina fans. Not all of them, but that gives.
I
them
would
a
have
leg
loved
up
to
on
have
that.
seen if it would have been Norway and Holland and versus Messi, because it is a big Man City fan and a big Holland fan. So that would have been interesting to see who his loyalties would have lied with on that one.
Yeah. Oh man, we still got a lot of stuff to watch. MLS is gonna be back soon. We've got All-Star game,
Are
which
they?
was tonight.
Friday,
Yeah.
baby.
National League sucks apparently. One hit shutout. That was dumb. Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff going on. World Cup
Seth,
still to watch. Yes,
the All-Star game doesn't matter, dude.
I know.
Nobody cares.
No, but no, like come on, one hit shutout. You gotta do better than that. You're the best. You're supposedly the best of the league, right?
Yeah,
No.
but the pitchers are the best of the league too.
Yeah, American League has
and-
always
and-
done better.
And what I like about the MLB All-Star game is that defense is still played, unlike
Mhm.
any other
Mhm.
All-Star
Yeah.
game,
That is very
because
true.
it's a lot easier. So it's not that the home run derby is for the fireworks. Most of the time these games are very tight and very low scoring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the most part. But yeah, that was tonight.
And to be honest with you, the pitchers have the advantage in the
Oh.
All-Star game, because where batters typically get that second and third attempt, which is where they typically will excel, especially against a top pitcher. If you're only seeing a pitcher one time,
Mhm.
you're getting their best shot, and especially they're only pitching maybe one, maybe two innings at most.
Yep.
In an All-Star game. So yeah, to me, it's as a hitter, it's always one of those games where you don't want to screw up your swing. And that's the problem with the home run derby and going into the All-Star game, is because you can get yourself in a funk if you make yourself look foolish and at your one or two at bat there. So
Yep.
But it was fun to watch. I watched it while it was on, and but it is late.
Yep, that it is. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. This is so much fun tonight. Anybody got any closing words before Jacob gets us out of here? All righty, Jacob, close us out.
Cool. Everybody over in the chat, thank you guys so much. Love having you here. Love the people watching live. If you're listening to this at a later date, please rate and review us on the podcast player that you're listening to us on. If you're watching at a later date, hit the little bell so you get a notification when we go live so you don't forget. Damn it, Harry. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. We got Lexington tomorrow. My prediction is 3-0 New Mexico United just because. It's fun times. I love the banter. I love the World Cup. I love USL. I love soccer. I love sports. I love you guys. And we will be back next week. Same time, same place. And until then, love y'all. Somos niños.